Jeff, of course, Mike Lubie, and it's always a pleasure to have this gentleman on the program because he's a good man and a great commentator as well, and was a terrific football player at both Penn State and in the pros with the Miami Dolphins. The great O.J. McDuffie joins us here on the show. The Dolphins are fast as hell. Yeah. I'm thinking, if this guy McDaniel has this innovative kind of Bill Walsh extrapolation that also involves the running game, and these offensive weapons obviously fit the puzzle very, very well, it could be very interesting to see a team just outspeed other teams. Just curious if this was ever offered to you in any kind of promotional thing or charitable effort, because I was a big fan of when like a football player would race against a thoroughbred racehorse. Bullet Bob Hayes did it, and I think he might have beat the horse. Skeets Nehemiah, who, wow, where did he get his hands from? Nehemiah, was that?
Oh, man, I don't know. From Roberto Duran. You got it from Roberto Duran.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Wow, a shocker for me right at the beginning of the morning. Good morning, everybody. Good to be with you here and good to be back in town. Jeff DeForest, Michael Lubie. It's the Defo Show here on South Florida Live. Coming in really off a late night arrival last night from New Orleans, which is so unique. I mean, it really is something, Lubie. You've been there how many times?
Love it.
So,
3.
A couple of times, yeah. And is your first move Acme Oyster House? Because it was for us once we came to the next day. Believe it or not, the first food I consumed in New Orleans, what do you think it was, Libby? Take a guess. I'll give you, was it grilled oysters? Was it something etouffee?
That hot dog. I feel like that hot dog.
Crawfish?
I feel like you got the hot dog. I feel like the hot dog was your first move. It's the easiest food to get.
Lucky Dog in the casino was the first thing that I consumed. We got in kind of late on Friday night. We had a 7 o'clock flight. So by the time I guess we got there like 8 o'clock, 8:30, and that was New Orleans time. And sure enough, by the time we get to the hotel where we cruised around the casino for a while, and I realized, wow, I really haven't eaten anything since breakfast. Yep. But too late. You're not going to find any food like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning while you're walking around on Bourbon Street, no matter how wild it is, no matter how wide open it is, which I really believe this. There is no scene like that in the world. It is extremely unique. Now, I don't know that you want to do it every day of your life, cruise Bourbon Street, which, has this enrichment of schmutz, if you could put it that way. It's the only place where like, you can walk down the street and the aromas are a mix of great food being cooked in just about every outpost that you can find there. I mean, you can't walk down the block and not find a good restaurant within 2 feet of the next one. And then so you have that, and then you have people streaming up and down the street, and yet it's mixed with like sort of the raw smell of vomit. It really is.
And urine. Yeah, the urine stench is pretty strong.
Yeah. Pretty solid. I mean, people just start peeing on the walls there. I mean, it's crazy. It's hard to get arrested for doing something funky in New Orleans because there's always something weird going on, and the weirdest of people are doing it. Which, a crazy person in New Orleans. I mean, look, I grew up in New York. I used to hang around in downtown Los Angeles. A lot of homeless, crazy people were around there at the time in early in mid 70s, early 80s. And so, you would run into people and say, and I'm a big fan of people that are certifiably strange. I, of course, have great empathy for people with mental health issues and the homeless people. But nonetheless, I mean, every now and then you'll see somebody that you would think should be perfectly normal, and they're acting like a madman. And that's New Orleans. Crazy people all over the place. And, you never know. You turn a corner and all of a sudden everything's blocked off because a parade popped up out of nowhere. But a lot of fun, very entertaining weekend. So, yeah, it was the Lucky Dog. I'm not sure it lived up to the anticipation that I had for the Lucky Dog. As I don't know. I mean, the first one I had, I was like, so this was what I was craving like for the last couple of years? Like a mushy hot dog with some chili on it that probably made Skyline look good. No, it was good. It was very good, Libby. Are you a fan of just like blatant garbage
to
eat? Yeah.
Yes. Of course.
Well, you are. Yeah, I know
Hello.
that.
Hello.
But good time. Really had a good time. Got buried in the casino. They didn't have anything I like to gamble on, except they do have sports wagering now, believe it or not, at
Oh,
the
they
Harris
did.
Casino in
Oh,
Louisiana. Yeah,
nice.
in
Oh,
New
sick.
Orleans. Well, I don't know how sick it was. I mean, I didn't. I ended up not making a single sports bet while I was there. I was going to get
Really?
bet. I was going to bet the Marlins on Sunday, but the game started at noon, and I didn't start up until a little bit after that. After dragging myself in on Saturday night, but great place. I would recommend it wholeheartedly. The flights are relatively cheap. Don't bring any luggage if you're going on Spirit Airlines. Maybe does that hold true for any airlines now? Don't bring any luggage.
Yeah, they're all weird. Even JetBlue sucks now. JetBlue wants to like charge you. JetBlue has an interesting thing now, and they didn't really explain it, but they have the cheap fare
Yeah.
and then the really cheap fare, and they're like $10 apart. So you don't even know that you're going for the really cheap fare, and the really cheap one doesn't even let you bring a personal. So you have to pay attention because JetBlue's really gone after that Spirit market too.
Well, I had a weird thing with the Spirit Airlines experience because Mustang bought a new suitcase.
Okay.
She had borrowed a suitcase from a friend of ours, the lovely Shirley Mills, and used that to go to Europe because she was going to be basically bringing everything except the piano. She packed up everything except my set of drums to go to Italy. All right, so she needed a bigger suitcase, and that went fine. And the suitcase was good. It was very practical. It held everything. Amazing because that was a lengthy trip. We've never gone on a trip that involved like a span of over 2 weeks,
Yeah.
where you're gone for like 10, 11 days. All right, so I mean, and in the beginning when I first started traveling with the Mustang, she really did. She put the wheels on the dresser as we went to the airport, and I'm thinking we're only going to be gone for like 3 days. What the hell do you need? Women, what the hell do you need? Now, a lot of women have gotten hip to the whole idea that traveling light is a way to go. I mean,
Yes.
the ultimate example would have been our good friend Jersey Kyle, who, no matter how long the trip was, it didn't matter. He could be going to like Honduras for 3 weeks, and he would still have all of his stuff in that little jet duffel bag that he had. And that's the way to go. It really is.
Yep.
That was before they started charging more for a carry-on bag
Yes.
than they do for a check bag. Which I mean, there are advantages to having a check bag, and of course, the disadvantage is you have to wait for the freaking bag,
Yep.
hoping that it shows up at the airport, and that's going to involve you another 15 minutes of entanglement in trying to get out of there at a time where you're starting to think, hey, let's just get the
Let's
fuck
go.
out of here.
Yep. Yep.
We're here, man. Finally. Because there's a lot of rigmarole to go through. Now, a couple of things. The idea of pre-checking your bag and getting your boarding pass when you're checking in a bag is completely useless in the Spirit Airlines system. Is this true of all airlines now? Because I guess it would be, where you've already pre-checked in your bag. So you put
Yep.
the sticker on yourself. You go to the kiosk, you get the
Yep.
sticker, you put it on the bag, and then
Yep.
you still have to wait in line.
Yes. It's stupid.
So what's the
JetBlue,
point of that?
it's dumb.
Who does
All of
that
them do
save
it.
time for? Who does that help? Does it help the airlines?
I
I don't know.
It's a joke. It's a really freaking annoying.
You still have to go up there with your
Yep.
license and your boarding pass, just
Yep.
like you would if you were checking in.
Yeah.
And then they go through a bunch of rigmarole. And I don't know,
Yep.
is that just because they want to weigh your bag so they can clobber you
Yes.
for more money?
Yes. The
All
way
right,
they
so
did. Yep.
yeah, go ahead,
No,
Lubie.
I was gonna say, yeah, that just happened to us the last time we traveled. Yep.
Well, and this is straight out of the Don King School of Weigh-ins, which we often mention and reference here on the program. So she's got this new bag. She orders one of the bags that she borrowed, right? Which fine, okay. And actually, it worked out really well because they have these little kind of like bags that you put inside
Yep.
that literally, like one small thing, held all of my clothes. This package was no bigger than a toaster oven, and no, it literally, and everything
No,
that
I
I had. I mean, it wasn't like I brought nothing. I had like a bunch of shirts, a pair of pants. You're never going to wear long pants in New Orleans in the summertime. If you are, then you have to be going to some fancy schmancy place, and you wouldn't be able to get in jeans anyway. So I don't even know why I brought those. Hot as hell there, steamy. Wasn't too bad. I mean, walking around on Sunday, it was kind of overcast, so that turned out really great. And then the sun popped out later on in the afternoon. Couldn't have been a nicer afternoon. Bands in every bar. bars don't care if you walk in with a drink from a previous place. Everybody's welcome to just come in there and have a good time. Out of obligation, I guess we ended up buying a bunch of drinks at every place that we stopped into. But and that was great. It was a real whirlwind. It was an adult Disney World tour where you're on the ride there, and you're going to be absolutely trashed by the time that you get off of it. And then, hopefully go and find something great to eat, which, doesn't take too much of a search there in New Orleans. The sodium bloodbath, I try to avoid a little bit, Lubie. And so there was no need to immediately make an appointment with a heart doctor when I got back home. But 'cause you have to pace yourself. See, I don't go Mayo on this kind of stuff. Mike Mayo, the gambling gourmet, where he eats like 9 meals because he's in a place where they have good food. I'm figuring I'm going to eat one great thing a day, and that's it.
Yep.
That's all you need. And I'm going to avoid, like, if I'm going to eat like a big dinner, I'm not eating, anything before that.
Yep.
Had a couple of beignets too. Mustang actually stopped up the street and picked a beignet off some like 6-year-old kid. I was digging a beignet out of the bag, and she goes, "Can I have a taste?" And the kid says, "Sure," and gives her one.
Your wife's classic.
Actually, the way the gambling went, we couldn't afford any beignets. Ugly bludgeoning there. So here's the mystery, though, of the Spirit Airlines and the Don King weigh-in. So she buys this new bag, and she brings like 2 bottles of wine from home because always feels like she can't find something, to her taste. Right? I mean, and sometimes you're relegated. There are liquor stores there, so it's not like going to Atlantic City's a little bit tough on that, although. Our good friend Marty the Party Sachs and his lovely wife Vicky say they land there. They go straight to this like Ace liquor store in Atlantic City, find whatever it is that they need, and then they're off to the room. Because you don't want to be drinking that like shitty casino house wine that comes out of a cart.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't blame her there. But so somehow this bag ends up weighing 55 pounds. 50
Oh my God. God, that's so stupid.
No. I'm not really the type that's going to start pulling underwear out of the bag.
I know.
I see some people doing, and they're going through the bag, and they're, okay, what can we, we'll stuff this in here. And, it makes it a real problem. And for 5 pounds over, you would think that they would just go ahead and forget about it. No, it's 50 pounds, 55 pounds. What's the difference? Is it going to alter the route of the plane? Are they going to have to fly like to Iceland or Greenland to accommodate the fact, that the winds are going to impact the weight of the plane over this 5 pounds? No, it's costing them nothing to put this 5 pounds on a plane. So they whack us for $50 right there at the airport. All right?
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
An extra 50 for the bag. The bag costs more to transport to New Orleans than both of us combined. It ended up being like a $120 bag. All right. So, the fares are cheap enough, and you're figuring, all right, whatever. I mean, if they want to call it's like 6 of this, a half a dozen of the other, right? If you were paying another $50 a person for the plane ticket, it still would have been relatively cheap by the standards of the day. And air travel, I mean, has gotten, even with the gas prices soaring, still seems to be fairly reasonable, especially on domestic flights, compared to what it was, right? They used to fly to Vegas, and if it was like $400 round trip, you thought, wow, that's a bargain.
Yep.
I don't know about Vegas, but, this flight was like $50 a person or something.
Wow, that's great.
Some ridiculous thing. Yeah, it was like $100 each round trip. So $200 total, and the bag cost $120. So now I'm into this for $320. Right, so coming back, I'm thinking, well, sure, I mean, we're now missing the 2 bottles of wine, but what could 2 bottles of wine weigh? Like 2 pounds?
Yeah.
So that wasn't really enough to put it over the difference there. And I think this woman had her foot on the scale. I really do. Because coming back, the same bag without the 2 bottles of wine weighs 41 pounds.
Yeah.
A 14-pound differential. I mean, you're thinking, well, when is Jose Suleiman going to read the weights? Roberto Duran really weighs 190 pounds, but they have him at 159 and 3/4 pounds, right at the middleweight limit. They fit and trim, and you're looking at a guy with like, Butterbean Ash kind of, side saddles there. And you're thinking, that guy don't weigh no 159 and 3/4. What are you talking about? So how is it possible that a bag minus 2 bottles of wine? Now, also, we picked up some things while we were there.
Exactly.
So, and it was a 14-pound differential. Spirit
It's
Airlines. Hello. I mean, what kind of
That's a
deal is
racket.
that?
It's
Talk
a
about
racket.
the scales of justice.
Right.
Yeah, that really is because what are you going to say? I mean, we didn't see the number. I actually saw the number when I put the bag on the scale on the return flight,
Yeah, on purpose.
and I
You were
see it
looking.
hits 41, and I was like, "Wait a minute! I want my money back! I want my
Exactly.
money back!" How could
Exactly.
this bag have weighed 14 pounds more going out than it did coming back?
With less stuff.
Right? We bought stuff there.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. So
But
that was the only well, I mean, besides the fact that I don't know why I didn't get around to making any sports wagers. I want to say, and it was hard to tell if they even had like tellers there taking bets, or if you had to bet on a phone app.
probably the app. Okay, so that's what it was. It was you're in the casino using an app.
I think you could go ahead. I didn't even really inquire about this, although I was curious about it. So, but I just never got around to it. Being in the sports book there, which was well designed. People were having a good time with it. You had a hockey game going. Probably would have bet the Lightning in that game, and they probably were favored. So, of course, they lose to the Colorado Avalanche
Yep.
in the Stanley Cup final. Which, wow, I mean, a lot of you have this, I mean, the feeling that the Lightning, deserve to lose, and you don't like them, and they're a horrible team, and they pounded your Panthers. I had great respect for what they did. I mean, I was kind of hoping they would make it 3 Stanley Cups in a row. Not that it's an in-state thing. I like the way that the team competes, and the fact that they won that game 5 in Colorado. You thought, here we go again, Lubie.
Mhm.
What would have been the move? Would have been to bet the Lightning as soon as they got down 3-1 in the series. After they lost that overtime game in Game 4, you're thinking to yourself, okay, now's the time to unload. And then they win Game 5 to encourage you, and then lose a 2-1 heartbreaker to the Colorado Avalanche. And that was Game 6. So the Avalanche, best team in hockey all year long, according to most, win the Stanley Cup. So a little chalk prevailing there. But on the other hand, how close did the Lightning come? Think about that. And this, of course, leads to the natural, deduction, which is how close did the Lightning come to winning 3 in a row, and how far away? Oh, how far
Oh,
away?
the Panthers.
Are your Florida Panthers? My God, doesn't look like they're close, does it?
No.
You could talk to all the Panther enthusiasts that you like, and it just doesn't appear they're close. So I would bet them right now that I said that to win the Stanley Cup next year. No doubt about it.
Good luck.
All right, what's your favorite po' boy? I mean, if you're going for a po' boy,
I like the shrimp oyster. The shrimp oyster.
Oysters?
They'll do they'll
Combination?
do the half oyster, half shrimp. That's the one I like the best. And that's Mother's. I'm like, I don't think I got breakfast at Mother's. I think I went there twice.
Yeah.
And got subs that time that we were there for the Super Bowl. And I remember them doing a great po' boy. Like their po' boy was great.
Rated among the best in
That's
New
really
Orleans, no doubt about it. I don't know. Fried seafood on bread. What do you think?
You're thinking too much. I don't think about it. I just know with the remoulade and with the lettuce, I use fresh bread. I like it. I enjoy it.
There's something about the oysters there too. I mean,
it's
and it's not, whatever part of the Gulf they get those out of, just amazing, absolutely great. They're not taking those out of the muddy Mississippi, are they? I don't think so.
No, I have no idea.
Imagine. That's what I thought. Yeah, they must get them out of the Mississippi. Not exactly, Jacques Cousteau when it comes to knowledge of, what goes on underwater there. But no, there's something about them. They're different than any place else, aren't they? No? Are all oysters essentially the same?
No, what's interesting is, and I waited till you came back. The professor has this weird thing where he will only eat oysters in the months. He won't eat them from May to, I think it's like August, May to August.
Why? Because of jellyfish? What?
No. There's something about the temperature in the water where when it's not cold, he's gotten sick in the past. So he's like really weird about it. Like, so I was wondering how it was there. Like you were just there in the
They had a disclaimer up in some restaurants. I don't know if it was in all restaurants, but it says, hey, warning, eating of raw shellfish or oysters can possibly do damage to your health. I guess they had to put that up there, for people that are allergic that don't realize it. And all of a sudden they go there, they eat like a dozen oysters, they fall in love with the whole process. And the next thing you know, they're in New Orleans General for the next 6 months. And New Orleans leads the league by far in personal injury attorney advertisements. And there's a reason for it. And I believe I don't know how the city isn't completely broke. Are they bankrupt there in New Orleans? Because every sidewalk has treachery waiting for. And the Mustang actually took a spill, went down, needed a standing 8 count. I wasn't with her; she was walking to meet us somewhere, and everywhere you look, there's a big chunk out of the sidewalk. And if you're not, inclined to look down, which I'm always looking out for dog shit when I'm on my
I
walk
always
of
look
life.
down. Shirley never looks down. Shirley always looks up, and I'm like, look.
Well, you try to tell yourself to look up. I mean,
I
generally,
never
you want to be one of those people that's look forward, look straight ahead. Don't look down at your feet.
always looking up.
Correct? I mean, when you're walking, people, you tell me, are you largely looking down at your feet or are you looking straight ahead at the horizon to see what new encounters and new adventures that you might be able to experience by looking ahead? It's a philosophical thing, but I'm
Probably.
looking down at my feet because I'm afraid I'm
Yes.
going to step in dog shit, period. That's
Yep.
it, dog shit.
Yep.
And sidewalk cracks and things like that.
That's it.
It's not too bad here. I mean, we are a relatively smoothly paved state here in Florida by comparison to the city of New Orleans, where it's amazing to me there aren't more injuries there. Just incredible. But every ad on TV is for a personal injury attorney.
Yes.
One outdoing the previous guy that had the ad on there in level of bizarreness and theatrics that they apply to the thing. And no surprise though, because I'm amazed that more people don't fall flat on their face walking around the streets of New Orleans. Everywhere you look, I mean, there's some kind of crevice, like there was an earthquake or something that just took place there. But and it doesn't seem like there's a big concern about fixing it. That's the thing that sort of would concern me if I was a city official that was in charge of the budget there, because you would think this would be pretty easy to pull off. Just falling flat on your face and blaming it on the sidewalk. Did they have a general disclaimer? Like, do you not realize when you come in
the
there that
airport.
they are not liable for anything that happens to you?
Our
Which probably would be a
streets
wise idea, to establish there, especially if you have a couple of hurricanes while you're walking around on Bourbon Street and, run into a bunch of crazy people. All right, the sporting world. This is good. Thank God. Oh, my God. Did we catch a break, people? I would see ESPN up on various screens. I mean, they have
they're
the
big
sports
sports
book
town.
there.
It's a
They
big sports
have
town.
like sports and TVs throughout the casino there where you can watch what's going on in various games. And then, it's kind of a sports-oriented town.
It's a
New
huge
Orleans.
sports town. Between the
Yeah.
Saints and now with the Pelicans, it's become a really big sports town. With the football, the college football's huge.
It's on TV pretty much everywhere. Every bar
Yeah.
you're catching whatever sporting event is taking place at the time, and a bunch of like of these shows on ESPN that you see in the daytime where they have a different panel every hour or half hour discussing the same two issues.
Yeah.
How much can you talk about the mind of Kyrie Irving?
I don't know, but they have more to talk about today. The only thing they didn't
But
consider-
yesterday the conversation was, oh man, I mean they had Kevin Durant going to the Heat.
Yes.
After Kyrie was coming to the Heat.
Yes.
And I mean, what gets this going, and why do people react to it? Because it's all bullshit. I mean, it turns out to and who would try to Ed Kaplan, our good friend Eddie Kaplan, often mentioned here on the show for his great insight and perspective as a sportscaster, where this is an industry that's inclined to lend itself to hysterics, is it not, Mike
Yes.
Lubie Lubitz?
Yes.
You used to
I'm the
want to
king.
delve into hysterics, thinking this was the only way that you could possibly succeed in the sports industry, and that may well be true.
I was gonna say,
Right?
Is it not true?
Who's the biggest star in the sports world, sports talk world? Screaming A. Smith.
Yeah. And
Just
Skip Bayless
screaming
got a ton of
away.
money for screaming before him.
Skip Bayless got a ton of money for just, expressing the asshole opinion.
Yep.
That nobody else with any sense of logic, so he became the contrarian and, is still insisting that LeBron James has had a mediocre career. Very Trumpian, this approach to
Yeah,
sports talk,
yeah.
is it not? Very Trumpian. You know what?
Yeah.
Whatever happened out there? Nah, I didn't see nothing. What are you talking about? Like he missed his entire career. Skip Bayless keeps telling you that LeBron James may as well have been anybody named James that ever played in the NBA,
James Jones.
right? What was it? Tim James,
Mike
the guy
James,
from the
Tim
University of
James,
Miami?
Mike
Yeah.
James.
He was a
All
first
better
round
than
pick.
LeBron.
There you go. Better than LeBron. LeBron might not be that. That would be the next thing that's up on that show, First Take or whatever that is. No, that's Stephen A's show. Well, what is this?
I don't know. He was Shannon Sharp. I don't know what the heck it's called. I've never watched it.
Unscripted, unsomething.
Sure.
Anyway, whatever it is, he will take the position and probably issue a list that LeBron James is only the fourth best James ever play in the NBA. Okay, Skip. You really believe that? When you go home at night and think about, hey, boy, I had a great day on TV. I had a lot of good things to say. Do you really believe that LeBron James sucked? I don't think so. Overrated. Yeah. It's crazy. But I mean, when they have nothing else to talk about, then, of course, why not gravitate towards a debate about LeBron James, whether he's the greatest of all time? Is he better than Jordan? I don't know. It's hard to say. But
it's just stupid to me.
The last thing that you want to indulge in this racket, and this is what came from Eddie K, is the idea that you're a mind reader somehow. That having a microphone and a platform to talk about sports, whether it's on some broadcast or radio, TV, podcast, streaming, whatever format that you have, or if you're just talking to somebody about sports in a casino or in a bar or in any conversation in a restaurant. The whole idea that we are capable of reading somebody's mind is preposterous, especially the mind of a guy who nobody can figure out where his head is at anyway. Kyrie Irving. Imagine we're trying to be mind readers for Kyrie Irving.
Yes.
Well, where does he want to go? Does he want to opt out and pay? Nobody's opting out of $36 million to play for $6. Have you seen this move ever made in the NBA?
Nope.
Where, okay, I can opt out. I can run with the Lakers there. Russell Westbrook will have to take a back seat. He's going to get paid $50 million, and I'm going to get paid $6 for driving the team to a championship. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody's doing that. You would have to have this man's head examined if he did that. And never mind these whole arguments, because it's not about the love of the game purely and simply anymore. Just ask Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka and all of these other guys. No. It's not about, if it is for somebody, you would have to actually have somebody examined by psychiatric people. Yep. If they said, you know what, I'd rather run with the Lakers for $6 million than run with Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets for $36 million.
Yeah.
Come on.
$3 million, I could see. $30 million? Come on.
Exactly, right? Tom Brady, supposedly, I don't know, is he getting paid on his side by Bobby Kraft? How did that work? Where he was making $15 million while Kirk Cousins is making $40.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but he took less. But exactly, he took less to be in the right situation. That's different than taking a quarter. Is that even a quarter? 6 compared to 30? I don't even know.
It's 1/6, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
unbelievable. 6 times.
There's no
6,
way he's doing that. Yeah, there's no way he's doing that. Like, there's just no way. Like, that's not happening. And he didn't.
Well, it didn't. Yeah, of course. So after what was the point of all of these conversations and all of the speculation? You love this. There's nobody that's suckered more into NBA speculation than you. When you get all excited, the season's over and you're already, okay, let's talk free agency.
You've ruined it for me, because I go on 5 reasons, because we put our South Florida stuff there. And I'm like, look, can you really talk heat every day? And the stuff that gets the best reaction is heat every day. And I'm like, I appreciate our listeners and I appreciate the South Florida fans, but I'm like, they just finished. Even I can't talk heat right now.
Who cares? Yeah.
Talking about Jovic, and he's not going to be on the team.
This conversation is, it's being driven by a crazy man, right? Kyrie Irving. All of this conversation was triggered by trying to read the mind of a crazy man.
Yep.
Impossible.
Yeah, yep.
That Neil deGrasse Tyson cut just keeps playing in my ears over and over again, because you're talking about a guy, you don't care what he thinks about space travel. You only want to see him play basketball, and for the most part, the rest of it is really a sideshow that is, of a circus-like proportion, worthy of any of the things that happen in the streets in New Orleans.
Yep.
By the way, these little kids that play the buckets, have you seen those guys? You see them in different cities sometimes. Man, guys with drumsticks, they sit down on the curb there and they play like, they got like a paint bucket.
Yeah.
Those guys are great, man. Unbelievable. They sound like an entire parade, and then you walk by and it's like one little 7-year-old kid who's got a pair of drumsticks and looks like Gene Krupa. But I'm so glad. And how much conversation was spent on where's Kyrie Irving going to go? I don't know. Where was he going to go?
Nowhere.
He was going to go nowhere.
He went nowhere.
People were already dissecting whether the Heat were getting a good value back as they were going to trade Kyle Lowry and Tyler Hero, supposedly. I mean, I saw all these packages being proposed by who? Woj? Who's putting this stuff out there?
He weren't. He weren't saying anything.
Can you see Pat Riley? I mean, would he trade for a crazy man, Pat Riley?
No.
I guess, he's had his, share of people on the team that probably didn't jive with Heat culture.
No, but they were near the end. Like, Kyrie's in the middle right now. Kyrie's still a guy getting max deals. Like, Antoine Walker knew he was not going to matter. So if he became a fat load and was a raving load,
Michael Beasley was a bit of a strange cat. They drafted him. Boy, Derrick Rose or Michael Beasley. Remember that debate?
No, it wasn't a big debate.
And, all along, Pat Riley made it sound like, oh, yeah, Beasley's going to be the guy because he was so afraid Chicago was going to take Derrick Rose.
Exactly.
And he knew that I don't know, who was the number 3 pick that year? There's a good trivia question. And how did that pan out after the Heat took Michael Beasley at number 2? And Beasley, surprisingly,
I think it was OJ
had a long-term sort of scrub career. I don't even know if he was a scrub. Didn't he surface? Was it with the Nets? So who was he with in his last stop where he actually became like a little bit of a factor? Michael Beasley. I remember taking number 2 overall. Derrick Rose was the number 1 pick. We spent hours and hours debating who the Heat should grab in that draft that year if they were able to snare either one of the two. And Riley made it seem like Beasley was the man all along, when we know that he had to covet the services of Derrick Rose, who turned out to be a far better NBA player overall. Although somewhat short-lived.
Short-lived.
His life on the top shelf there, Derrick Rose. But nonetheless, he did get there. Whereas Beasley, as a Heat player, really, it didn't amount to a whole heck of a lot. And then later, where was he? Was he with Minnesota?
Yes,
Trying to picture Michael Beasley at
Beasley,
the end of his career.
He's played in a bunch of places at the end. I mean, I think he was still hanging around as recent as last year, and I think he just took a deal overseas. I mean, he's hung around this whole time. That's what's funny. He's made a decent amount of money for a guy that was a total disaster as a second overall pick.
Yeah. I mean, a real bust as a Heat draft pick, but, hung around. I mean, I want to say over a dozen years. And I think now, is he not playing in that 3-on-3 league? At, what is it, Ice-T or Ice Cube? I got the two guys.
Ice Cube. Ice-T is the guy that plays the
Cube
cop
is the
on TV.
basketball guy. T
Ice
is
Cube is the
what?
basketball guy. He does he does like the CSI shows or the cop shows, Ice-T.
Ice-T, yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you really believe that Ice-T, this is one of those endorsements that seems a little bit far-fetched, doesn't it? That Ice-T is using Car Shield to insure his Bentleys
100% no.
against mechanical repair needs.
Yeah, I'm sure.
These are cars that are in like a warehouse that he's bought just to house his fancy cars, and he's sitting in there. I forget who comes in, some other celebrity like Allen Iverson or something, and says, you know what? I'm using Car Shield too. Those are the more far-fetched commercials of all. Chris Berman, do you think he's sharing mechanical repairs? What is Chris Berman driving, you think? It's weird when Ice-T, because it's all Bentleys and Rolls Royces. He's got like a dozen of them, and he's going, you see these cars? They're going to run forever.
Yeah.
I have Car Shield.
It's a Car
I'll
Shield.
never pay for another repair. Is that worse than Tom Selleck on the reverse mortgage ad? Very sincerely looking into the camera and saying, you know what? I trust him, and I think you can too. You're like, Tom, man, you sellout piece of shit. I'm swearing a lot today. It must have been, the residue of the brain damage that was done in New Orleans. All right. So I'm glad that's settled. Every show, Lubie, every screen you looked at,
I know.
Hear what they were saying. It was one guy going, you know what, Kyrie's a cancer, and the other guy was going, no, Kyrie is the cure. How great is that?
Whatever.
Cancer or the cure? Which is it?
Exactly.
Why is it, though, that your immediate reaction as a basketball fan, after all the different contretemps and misadventures of Kyrie Irving and the bizarre statements and behavioral, I don't know that you'd call it a disorder, but certainly isn't in any kind of order that the Nets management would like to see. Maybe I'll get the shot. Maybe I won't. I don't know about that. And they've waffled on the whole thing. I mean, it turned out to be a disaster. You talk about the attempt to put together big threes. Do you think that's an idea whose kind of time has played
It
itself
slowed
out?
down. Yeah, it slowed down a lot.
Yeah. What a disaster, right? James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and the very professional Mike Vaccaro. Did you say Mike's coming on the show sometime this week?
I'm gonna
Mike
try and
Vaccaro?
get him on. I was waiting.
New York Post.
Yeah, he's had some health stuff that I'm gonna reach out to him next week, and hopefully he'll come on with us next week.
Well, he wrote a sidebar story today, kind of a column. I guess that was an adjunct to the whole Kyrie Irving decides to come back to the Brooklyn Nets. What a surprise for $36.5 million, because all he could find was $6 somewhere else. If that, I mean, we don't even know if that was something that was going to transpire. And so he was talking about Vaccaro pointed out all of the reasons that Kevin Durant has been nothing but a professional. Now he's a little bizarre on Twitter and gets into social media controversies, I guess you would call it, characterize it as that, where he doesn't come off very well sometimes on social media, Kevin Durant, for a guy that really, if he just sort of stayed the Michael Jordan course and said nothing, would be universally greatly admired. And I don't know. Can you really resent the guy for going to the Warriors? That was a big thing. Oh, yeah. What I hate to use another derogatory word here, especially with all of this, in the air about Roe versus Wade. But, I mean, everybody saw that as like a pussy move, right?
Yeah, it was
what he went to the Warriors.
Yeah, what a wuss move, cop out. The team you had on the ropes were up in series, and you go join them. Like, what was that?
Yeah, exactly. And you're thinking, I don't know. I mean, can you begrudge a guy for wanting to be on like the best team? Even if you're one of the great players. I mean, do you really have to go in there with a bunch of dogs to prove yourself? I mean, actually, in the article, Mike Vaccaro says, well, you know what? Some people feel this way. I guess Charles Barkley has put it out there that unless Durant is the engine driving a team to a championship, he really hasn't distinguished himself as one of the greats. What kind of ridiculousness is that?
Well, what's dumb about that is he actually is more impressive in a sense because he joined a team that had won a title. He joined a team that won 73 games, and he instantly became the best player. Like Steph Curry was, people were arguing, is he better than LeBron? I mean, he wasn't, but they were arguing that at the time. Durant came, and he was the one winning MVPs, and he was the one being the best player. So that's pretty good. That's pretty cool if you can join a team that's already winning. And automatic, like LeBron, like people gave LeBron shit, and I love Dwayne Wade. LeBron was the best player on the fucking Heat those years, like by a lot. So he joined a winner and was their best player. Who give that? You're just talking out of your ass. Like that's why what bothers me about the old school dudes is, yeah, Jordan didn't have to leave, yeah, because the Bulls gave him talent. Yeah, Bird didn't have to leave, yeah, because the Bird. Red Auerbach was allowed to make every trade he wanted and get gifted players. Like Magic,
Kevin McHale wasn't half bad.
Yeah,
probably could have done well on his own.
And I love Magic. Even in that stupid show that depicted everyone like they were the worst person ever, they were already good. Jerry West couldn't coach. They couldn't manage, yet they still were already contending every year because Kareem is at worst a top 3 player ever. Like none of these players, the league was small. You joined loaded. Look at Bill Russ like that. Havlicek, you love Havlicek is a Hall of Famer as a 6 man. Like
was coming off the bench.
Of course, you wouldn't have to join a super team. You had a super team. Like, Barkley left the Sixers to join a Suns team that was loaded. Like, that's what I don't understand when these guys
I don't resent a guy for that. Yeah,
it's
I really
weird.
Don't. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see these big 3 assemblages as they come together, and yet, do you have to take into account the idea that I don't know that you would clarify this or qualify it as being a head case in Irving's spot. You could say it might be some brain damage there. I don't know. James Harden, also doesn't seem to really give a flying one about the team that he's playing for, does he? The wandering around, in Game 7s when he was with the Houston Rockets, he wasn't really as prominent a player there, although he was a non-factor in that championship series against the Miami Heat. In what was that, 2006? When the Heat won the championship over Oklahoma City?
No, 2011.
16. No, 11.
2011.
Okay.
2011.
Yeah. All right. It does. That seems too far back, right? 16 years ago. Is that possible? Yeah.
It's 11 years ago. Your math is scaring me, like my wife. It was
no, but oh yeah, you're right.
2006 was the Shaq Wade Zoe resurrected his defensive prowess year.
See, it's a good thing you talked to Scoop Skolnick recently, so you're straight on all of this Heat
I'm
history.
actually
Me,
I'm
I'm
going
in a
Heat the last 2
state of
years.
confusion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it seemed flawed. It was a long shot, wasn't it, that it was going to work out? James Harden. And then when Harden was kind of capitulating to the other two guys and became a distributor and an all-around player, you thought, my God, these guys are going to win everything.
Yes.
But it's hard to keep those guys together, and that's why it seemed far-fetched that Pat Riley would be interested in either of those players, James Harden or Kyrie Irving. Now, some people would just contend that, well, you know what, Riley's all about great players, and he doesn't give a crap. He figures they'll fall into line.
That's what Scoop said when I asked yesterday. I'm like, would the Heat really want Kyrie? He said, look, talent is talent. I mean, if you can get him for the right money, I guess. He's like, but the reality is they don't really want Kyrie. They wanted KD. But again, I didn't see any of it happening. Like, no one really wanted Kyrie Irving, so he would have to take $6 million. He's not doing that. So he stays. If he stays, KD's going to stay. Like, Kevin Durant went there to play with Kyrie Irving and show he can win without the Warriors, even though, again, I don't think he has to. I think he's won enough. I think it's weird, all these rules we put on your greatness. Like, okay,
yes. Guys that are deemed to be great that, followed in the exact same path as the thing that they're condemning, are the people that are commentating. But, no, it couldn't have been enough yesterday. I mean, I'm so glad this guy opted back into his contract so we can put that one to rest because it's just – it's too much. I mean, 48 hours straight of Kyrie Irving speculation after years of Kyrie Irving speculation. We've learned one thing, right? We have no idea what this guy's going to do, but strong possibility is that after showing like amazing talent, at some point in time, he's just going to, blow a gasket and somehow the team is going to be compromised by it, which... I mean, what kind of mess do you think the Brooklyn Nets are? You know they wanted to get rid of Kyrie Irving.
100%.
Right? I mean, anything they could do to avoid paying this guy. And they could have offered him the max contract and made him happy ever after.
Yep.
But they realized that would have been a large mistake.
Yep.
And yet, it's entirely possible that now without the COVID restrictions and not being able to play in New York last year, that Kyrie Irving goes out and has like a monster season.
Well, and Julian just said it too. The funny thing is, they still have Ben Simmons sitting there.
Yeah.
So, like, if everyone was happy, they'd have a fun team. Okay. Good luck.
Well, you talk about a psycho ward, huh?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
we don't know where Ben Simmons is coming from. You got a guy that's been sulking for 2 years.
Yes.
Just sulking. Did not play coach's decision. Did not play sulking.
Because of his own abilities. Like, He's the one that didn't want to shoot free throws. He's the one that was passing up dunks at 6'11", 270 pounds because he was scared they'd foul him because he was scared he'd have to shoot a free throw. Like, it was all on him. Like,
why not just go to the line every day the rest of your life? Now, there's no guarantee that if you're a horrible free throw shooter, you're going to become a good one. But there is the possibility that somehow you will find something that works for a while, and you can at least become competent enough that it doesn't become advantageous to foul you every time that you
look at Giannis. Giannis was a disaster 2 years ago, and then this last year he was vastly improved at the free throw line. Like,
guys have gotten better. It's possible. I still remember lingering from one of our interviews with the great Ron Rothstein, who now is a Heat analyst.
Oh, he'll be on with us Thursday.
Long-time coach. Okay.
He'll join us Thursday.
We have to ask him about these head cases, man, because he had to coach his share of them, no, with the Detroit Pistons.
Oh, yeah.
You imagine?
But they were like driven head
Rodman
cases.
was on the team.
But they were like head cases that were motivated. Like, Rodman was like LT. He was a lunatic away from the court, but if you could get him on the court, he played. Like, these are guys that are even on the court. Kyrie will be playing basketball and then be like looking into space somewhere. Harden is the same thing where he's just like, ugh. Simmons is scared to dunk. Like, at least the Pistons lunatics were like raving lunatics. Like, they were so mad with winning that you just had to point them in the right direction and they'd go. Like, I feel like that's a different kind of crazy.
All right. Well, during all that, I forgot what I was going to say about Rothstein.
We're going to talk about Rothstein.
Stick it in my head. What were we talking about there, Mike Lubie? Lost my train of
free
thought.
Throws and crazies.
Oh, the free throws. Yeah. Okay. So what he said about Giannis made perfect sense. So it was at and it was evident too, even in
Yep.
the playoff series where he was struggling,
Yep.
where they were just absolutely lampooning him in the crowd there, counting down 7, 6, 5, 4. What was that? He made important free throws.
Yep.
He might have been shooting around 50%, but maybe slightly higher. But when the free throws were becoming essential at the end of ball games, he was hitting those.
Yep.
So, while he was bricking a few early in the ball game, I mean, he was hitting clutch free throws, which, is a sign maybe that you could snap out of your general funk if you put your mind to it, which he did.
Yep.
I mean, to
Yep.
his credit.
Yep.
Because he is no longer that strict of a line. We have to look up his shooting
He
percentage.
shot in the mid 70s this year. He went from like 60% to like the mid 70s.
But,
Like it was a
which
big
isn't
improvement.
terrible. Yeah, it's not terrible.
Well, you're not throwing him on the line. I'll tell you that right now. You're not just automatically going, ha, hack a Giannis. Like
You go out to the park. It's not that easy to make 9 out of 10, even if you're a great free throw shooter. I mean, to shoot 90% from the line under like zero pressure circumstances, and while you're not running full court, you just walked out there with a ball. You had nothing to do. You're a good free throw shooter, so you decide to see how many you can make out of 100. And even if you're a good free throw shooter, I mean, maybe just because you're shooting 100 of them in a row, you're not like Larry Bird when it comes to concentration.
Yeah.
So, you might be able to shoot. I don't know. Would you shoot a higher percentage in a game? But go out there, try to make 80 out of 100.
Yeah,
It'll be right now. I mean, not that easy, right? Even if you have the stroke down pat. So, to shoot 70-something for a guy that was a bricklayer before that, it shows you that it can be done. So why wouldn't Ben Simmons just go to the park every day instead of and I don't want to, say anything that, could get into, the whole area of like maybe he's got some mental illness or whatever that is keeping him from being happy going out there on the court and playing basketball for $50 million a year. A year. Think about that, right? James Harden just opts in for like 47 million or whatever. 47 million. You're gonna make $50 million for going out there and looking like Ricky Hatton between fights. Unbelievable. That was amazing that a guy could gain and lose that much weight in such a short period of time. Like Hatton was fighting at like 140. And you'd see him, man. They called him Ricky Fatton, and he's, it was seemingly a pretty good guy, a good character out of the sport of boxing, but and respected by a lot of people. Got knocked out that time. I mean, flattened by Manny Pacquiao. Remember that? Were you with us in Kentucky? There, we went to a sports bar with Leslie Visser, and
nope.
Were you not on that trip? I know you were on one of them. Yeah, and then Pacquiao knocked out Ricky Hatton like in the second
watched that
round.
Hatton fight in Tallahassee at a buddy's house. I remember that. We got really excited, and all the Brits were like freaking out, and it was prime Pacquiao, and we all looked at each other like, I think he's going to kill this guy. And then the first like 30 seconds, it was like such a waste. We had paid for it. We were like geeked up.
But at least, you got like a sort of a stunning result.
Yeah.
Because there were people that thought that Hatton was going to win that fight.
Yeah, they bigged it up like Hatton's just the great white hope, and this guy, the Brits love him, and it's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
no bigger fool when it comes to just blindly backing their own sporting heroes than the British. I believe that. In fact, it is reflected in the reflection that you're seeing there of the poster, which got a little Wimbledon action going on in the screen there. But the Klitschko-Danny Williams fight was a classic example of it. And that's, the poster reflects the millions of dollars that these British freaks who came to Las Vegas and didn't even have tickets for the fight. They just came there to be in the city where their big guy who got there by fraudulent circumstances, very fugazi circumstances, a fight with Klitschko after not knocking out, but stopping Mike Tyson, not by a punch, because Tyson tore his anterior cruciate while he was fighting this guy, and still was probably going to win the fight, but he just couldn't take it anymore. So the Brits fall in love with this Danny Williams. Oh, he beat Tyson. And they were sending it in, Lubie. I've been in many sports books and race books where the people were sending it in pretty good proportions on a Kentucky Derby or on a big fight or on whatever it was, sporting events like the Super Bowl. I mean, I've seen kids with knapsacks full of cash coming up to the teller there and plunking down like 50 G's cash on like the first quarter under. That must have been the Greek.
I was gonna say. It reminds me.
Now
of,
these guys just
Serena.
runners for some,
Yes,
crime
yes.
organization.
That's what Greek has said. The Greek said a lot of these big money guys have runners. They don't deal with all that.
Yeah. I can't see, the big cheese coming into the sports book there with a knapsack with 50,000 in it.
No,
So what
no.
does he do? He dukes the kid like 500, says, "Don't
Yep.
lose his bag."
Yep. Yeah, honestly.
Imagine a kid comes back and he looks at Mr. Big in the eyeball and he says, Mr. Big, looks very disappointed and says, "I said the Jets." As the game kicks off, you're like, "What? You bet the wrong team." Check your tickets before you leave the teller. They always tell you that. All right, I'll tell you where they never make mistakes, and that is Hialeah Park. And it's just been a thing of beauty from the very beginning. It's historic, it's fantastic, and it's modern and up to date, and it's futuristic even, the way they've done things at beautiful Hialeah Park. I'm a huge fan of Hialeah Park, always have been. Couldn't wait to get there when I first came to town. The first time I walked in there, I was blown away. It was Bourbon Street Plus, only from a different angle there. Just pure, intrinsic, inherent beauty and history and culture. And then you go into the casino, and I still remember that press conference there with John Brunetti Sr., and people were walking out there going, "I don't know, man. He's done a lot of interesting things in his life, but I think the man is, kind of, dreaming a little bit here, no?" And he was. And he was dreaming the impossible dream, Man of La Mancha type of stuff as he pulled it off. And the casino's been great. In operation 8, 9 years now?
It's been a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
Doing a dynamite job. You would think it was brand spanking new. They always make sure that the place is just absolutely pristine. It's fantastic with a great vibe. You always feel good when you walk in there. They have all kinds of special events. But the main action, it was sort of dull. The Harris Casino's all right. It was packed. But, if nobody's winning, nobody. They're all
it's like quiet. It's like a quiet. That's what's fun about Hialeah. The yelling, no matter what, the yelling is great. I love the vibe.
You feel like you won even if you lost because you were just in this atmosphere. It's fantastic. Champion Simulcasting Room, great place to punch away. Got the Saratoga meet coming up, man. That would be a place to relax. I can see Dave Gurgles Gurgly with a cigar.
Sure.
And, one of his, special Scotch whiskeys that he likes to drink. And, racing form and a little booth there. And they're just, punching away on the Saratoga meet. And, it's just great fun for everybody. They really do the thing right. The sports book in New Orleans didn't have horse racing. And I was thinking, well, why don't you get the laws changed here so this could be like Hialeah Park, which is hard to do. And I would imagine people that are designing race books and things like that would be wise to come to Hialeah Park and see the way they did it. It's just absolutely fantastic what they've done with that room. Great place to go if you're playing poker too, and food and drink off the chart. Get a player's card when you walk through the door. You're really going to get a lot of accommodations there. Just unbelievable generosity coming from the management there at Hialeah Park. Great place to go. I love it. Lubie loves it. Everybody that goes there says the same thing. Hey, why don't I do this more often? And you'll come back many, many times again to beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie. It's good to be back with you here in town on South Florida Live. Tell your friends about it. Subscribe. Share the posts that Lubie has on social media. Is the word spreading, Lubie? I'm hoping so.
Slowly but surely. Our numbers are going up. It's solid.
Beautiful.
I'm happy. Got to keep working, keep grinding, as they say.
I think you need to bury your ass on TikTok.
I'm trying.
Hit it right over the top.
I post us on TikTok. TikTok's a weird animal, man. Like some stuff will hit, and then a lot of stuff won't. It's
all right.
The new socials are really weird. Like it's
crazy. Yeah, no, we got to catch up with the modern world. All right, and we got to catch up with a few people that we're very, very proud to represent here on the program. So we'll be back with more. Brett Tesler later on, the Agent of the Stars. More Deshaun Watson stuff. I guess he goes before the judge here pretty soon. And the NFL right around the corner, huh? Unreal.
Finally.
I thought I saw a guy checking into the Harris Hotel there. He looked like a young prospect for the Saints or something.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he looked the part. Very athletic.
Doing camp. Camps are now. I don't know why he'd be at Harris. I don't think that's the best place for you to be.
Well, the casino's not actually part of the hotel. You got to walk across the street there, maybe. So it's not like you're in strict degeneracy. Okay. Although all roads lead to the casino.
I was going to say, what else are you doing there?
taking a little walk down Chapatulas. No, you're heading straight for the casino.
Exactly.
Get the hell out of here. Yeah. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Good to be back with you, and glad you guys tuned in to the audio and video stream that we're doing here on South Florida Live. Back with more in a moment. Now that
The time.
it's 7:54.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8755.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist extraordinaire, with us here on 940 Wins, 1230 The Zone, and around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you do a lot of podcasting, and you're very diverse in the things that you cover, including one with basketball star Kyrie Irving. You know, we picture Kyrie Irving lighting incense and chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. What was it like? I mean, the conversation with Kyrie Irving, especially in matters of astronomy.
Here's the thing with Kyrie Irving. So as you may know, and of course, if you knew that much about him, you would know that for a while there, he was a big fan of the flat earth. And so my response to that is, by the way, we care about Kyrie Irving because he's good at basketball. So people say, oh, you should not talk about a flat earth. And I'm saying, I don't care if Kyrie Irving wants a flat earth. He's a basketball player. There's plenty of jobs you can have in this world while you think Earth is flat. Just don't let the head of NASA be among them, right? Just you live in a free country. You should be able to say what you want. And so I wasn't as distracted as other people were. I don't get my science from Kyrie Irving, and I'm not going to get basketball lessons from the head of NASA, period. So that's how I look at it.
From South Florida to the entire world, thank you to the iHeartRadio app. Here is Defo, joined by Lubie on The Defo Show.
I will say this about Kyrie Irving. Welcome back to the show, by the way. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie here with you on South Florida Live. You could say this about a few people, but does anybody finish at the so-called cup?
He's great.
Better than Kyrie Irving?
No, they talk about him as the best ever, and I don't know if he's the best ever, but he's definitely right there with anyone. 100%. Getting to the basket and finishing at the basket.
Yeah, and it's not like he's like 6'9", like he's Magic or something.
Nope.
I mean, the guy, usually is in there, and even while being doubled and triple teamed, he has the ability to just maneuver the basketball just right. It's one of those talents. You're always making those moves when you're just out there by yourself, as if you're juking out some guy at the last second there to get off a layup, and the ball, you miss, right? Layup goes off.
You fall down. You pull your hamstring. Yeah.
But, I mean, this guy kind of hangs there, and it's not like he looks like he's dancing on air like Michael Jordan did. But somehow, man, I mean, he makes those baskets at the when he's right underneath the basket like that. He converts.
His body
which,
control is amazing. His body
yeah.
control is as good as anyone ever. No, that's the funny thing is that everyone prefaces this by saying no one questions his talent, but Kyrie's great. Like they always feel the need. It's like what Dave wants
Yeah.
to. What a great guy. But he had no idea what he was doing as a head coach. Like they always preface it by making sure you understand how good he is if he ever tries to play basketball. But the problem is that's like 25. He's played 29. He's played 29% of the games or 29, like some stupid ass stats since he's joined Brooklyn. Like,
well, last year was a circus, man. An absolute circus. Noon today, Serena Williams returns to the court at Wimbledon.
She does.
Wimbledon.
Big thing. I'm sure you didn't actually bet it, but
where did they find the sort of lower end of the field here? Because now you would have to think, and maybe I'm wrong about this. How could Serena be a ranked player? She got a wild card into the tournament, and she hasn't played in a year, so you would lose all of your ranking points because you have to defend your points.
Yeah.
In other words, like if you won the Miami Open one year and you got like whatever it is, 100 points. I'm not sure how the system works exactly, but I do know this much that okay, so if you didn't play in the Miami Open the next year, you're losing 100 points towards whatever ranking and whatever number is associated with that. So she would be unranked. Now, how did she draw a stiff in the first round of the tournament?
I don't get that.
Center court. And noon today here is 6 o'clock in England, right? So, kind of a feature evening match with strawberries and cream written all over it. And you're thinking Serena's going to draw somebody that's pretty competent, and this, of course, is in defense of my theory that Serena would get knocked out in the first round.
You didn't bet it then, because that Sarni was saying she should be rated super low and face someone real. Like we all agree that she should face someone real. Like she hasn't played at all, and when she's played, she sucked. Like she should be ranked ridiculously low. Like she should.
She was starting to fade before she finally, hung it up, which looked like it was going to be for good as it stretched into a year. And is Serena 40 years old now? Is that possible that she's 40 years old? At one time you would have thought that if she played into her 40s, that she would still be in top form if she was going to be out there. But that was hardly the case. Now Venus,
40, turning 41. She's 40, and it'll be 41 in 3 months.
And look, nothing against anybody that it was at that level and wants to compete. That's fine.
Go for it, whatever. Yeah.
And I'm sure are there Serena fans out there? Or does everybody feel the same way about it? That she seems to come off as a bit of a fraud, which is fine. I mean, this takes nothing away. Just like with Kyrie Irving, the guy is a great basketball player. There's no doubt about it. Some of the things he does, other people, just can't even do. Plus he can shoot from the outside, and he can shoot while under pressure also from the outside. So those layups that he makes, and he's been known, obviously. I mean, LeBron James, one of those rings, right? Kyrie Irving cans that shot. Otherwise, it's just not happening. As the guy that's supposed to be the engine driver, the engineer. What was going to fall on his face if it wasn't for somebody else. See, I mean that's one thing. You never saw Jordan absolutely need the help of others. He still was leading these other guys, was he not?
There you go.
Mike Lubie, is that fair?
I don't know. I think all these debates are stupid. Jordan didn't get past the first or second round until Pippen was Pippen and Horace Grant and Paxson became legitimate. Like. So I don't know.
Hodges, Kerr. I mean, I think
no one wins alone. We've seen no one wins alone. So I think those are dumb debates. And I mean, especially when you go intergenerational, it's like the basketball. If you watch the basketball in the 60s and 70s, it's not the same thing as the 90s, and it's not the same thing as the 2020. So to compare them is just stupid to me. It's just he was great then. He was great then. He was great then. And but God forbid you can't do that in this genre. You have to yell and scream all the time about how your ludicrous argument is a better argument than their ludicrous argument.
Basketball conversation has become beyond the theater of the absurd. It really has. Because very little talk about the game itself and what's going on. And then, a lot of people, I guess what conversation there is about that is that the game's deteriorated into a 3-point chucking contest.
Yep.
Interesting, the players walking through the crowd to get to their court there at Wimbledon, just an aside here. Coco Gauff about to take the court.
Do they give you what her ranking is?
Yeah.
Do they give you and Andy's randomly a fan. Of course, Andy would be a fan of the villain of tennis. Uh, she's like the wrestling character of tennis. Okay, so what is Serena's ranking then? Like, who's Harmony Tan? Why? Like, I don't get how she
Yeah,
got a favorable
exactly.
matchup.
Where did they
Like,
dig this stiff up? This is
how is she higher
this is
rated? She has a
worse.
blade.
Literally, yeah. And the guys that are in the prelims on the aforementioned Don King on the Don King card, where that guy's got like, where'd you find this guy?
That's a favorite.
What
20
outpost of the Midwest did you go to find a stiff like this that has somehow a winning record at 39 and 28
Yeah, it's like 30, 26, and 1.
to fight your 3-0 prospect? Yeah. Where do you find these people? Call Brad Jacobs. See where they find this Harmony Tan.
Like,
I don't even think Bob Arum could have found this woman to play Serena Williams.
like, what is
If
that?
you just signed Serena out of like the Olympic Games, where she just won the gold, in the heavyweight division. Anyway, look, great player, no doubt. Looked horrible in the very beginning and looked completely out of shape. I didn't even see how she could compete in singles when she was playing the doubles match in Eastbourne last week.
Yeah.
They did win a couple of matches, and Serena rounded into form is kind of an odd, pun-like way of putting it. But she started to show signs of life. Let's put it that way, and kind of carried Ans Jabeur, who's been a very, very good player, to victory in the first couple of matches that they played. One of which was against this Buzkova, who's a young girl from some Eastern European country. And she just pulled off an upset in the first round, knocking out that Collins, the sort of veteran from the United States, who showed so well. Which major was it that she was like? Was that the French Open, or won a couple back where she went to like the final round and nearly took it? Might have been the Australian, but anyway. Who the hell knows, man? What do I know about this stuff, right? First, we were hockey experts just a week ago. And, now we're tennis experts. But I do follow this stuff.
Well, you follow tennis. We know you follow tennis. I mean, you talk every day.
I would have bet my life savings, which are diminishing quickly here. But nonetheless, I would have bet my life savings. It was about a dime involved.
At least you had some. Good for you. I didn't even know you had a life savings. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. There was a point there when that was Blutarski. Thanks, Mom.
I was going to say, that probably has a lot to do with Ms. DeForest.
It was a nice infusion of cash. I wouldn't deny that for a second. Yeah. We can sort of, if she knew I was gambling.
Are you kidding me?
She thought it was much worse than it is.
Yeah, that was so funny. She was like really.
My mother assumed that my life was in ruins only because of gambling. Which, it depends what form of gambling. If it's gambling on women. Whew.
Yeah.
Right? How many sevens have I rolled there?
That's a whole other thing.
Never on the come out roll, my friend. Always right after you make the point or establish a point. That would be it. I would have thought Serena gets slaughtered. I would have bet my life savings that she would have lost in the first round of the Wimbledon tournament. Didn't look like she had the ability to cover the court in a singles match against any of these girls and young ladies that are just knocking the snot out of the ball. So Serena's power probably diminished, as you might anticipate, and some of these other women that are on the tour right now, I don't know that they're hitting it harder on an individual shot than Serena.
They can compete,
but you can't see Serena sustaining being totally out of shape. Any kind of baseline rally matchup against some of these young women that are out there today. I mean, and it goes like 20, 30 deep. So how did she dodge playing somebody? Andy informs us that this woman is 130th in the world.
Julian has said she's 130th and Serena's 411th. So 130th, I guess, is like a star compared to 411th.
And that's center court Wimbledon main feature match today that everybody's waiting to see.
I'm glad you didn't put the bet on because I was going to make fun of you for not doing it, but I don't care what she's ranked. I wouldn't count on Harmony Tan to beat Serena. Just an intimidation alone, Serena may be able to eke that match out.
This is what I call, and it was a boxer who fought like almost every other night He had like 200 matches named Bruce the Mouse Strauss. He was a big star in the Midwest. He was mostly a winning fighter, but I mean, this is Bruce the Mouse Strauss syndrome here, where you're going to match this guy up against somebody that there's no shot as even the slightest semblance of a chance of winning. Now, if this young lady beats Serena today, see, now that's the good thing about it. If I really was, convicted that, and convinced that my argument was right about Serena being so badly out of shape that she couldn't possibly win a first round match, the fact that she is in there against a complete unknown, like right out of Bob Dylan, right, like a complete unknown, a Rolling Stone. I mean, that would give you like very generous odds, would it not? What are the odds on the Serena Williams match? And I would imagine. Think about this, Lubie. I mean, that's going to be all over the screen. That'll be superimposed over the score.
Yep.
The changing odds during the match. This is all ESPN really cares about. And in fact, they probably dragged Serena out there on orders from DraftKings to go ahead and set up a match where all the money is going to come in on Serena, and they're going to put this this stiff against her that they happen to know is going to beat her anyway like a drum, right? Straight sets, 2-2. That's it. Serena gets broken by this girl. Probably, I don't know. Is she some waif-like opponent that probably came out of qualifying and weighs like 112 pounds? Going against Serena here. I don't know. Harmony 10. Never heard of her. I watched a zillion tennis matches.
She's French. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not what I would have thought from the name Harmony 10.
I would have thought she was Asian.
Yes, she looks Asian. So she's, I guess, French by way of some Asian country.
French. Okay. They found some French woman where?
I mean, she exists. I mean, there's
sleeping
lots
under
of
the Eiffel Tower. I mean, and they just handed her a racket and said, "Here, you're playing Serena center court today. What is this? What kind of scam? Who's running this?
Exactly.
Wimbledon tournament. Sepp Blatter.
Johnny
what's
was
going on here?
By the luck of the draw, it's like okay. Doesn't feel like it.
Anyway, we wish Coco Gauff all the best.
Yeah, come on, Gauff.
Made it to the final of the French Open. Had to play Swiatek, who is heavily favored to win at Wimbledon. Now, the Joker struggled a little bit in his first round match. He didn't look great. He wasn't Joker-esque, as they say. And so, and he's in there tough. Alcaraz had to go to distance, the young kid Phenom. 5 sets. And think about that, playing 5 sets. And it's brutal.
It's got to be hot and muggy, too, in the middle of Great Britain. Ugh, right now in the summer. Oh, my God.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It's going to be pretty well. All right. Coco's getting ready to tee it up. So we'll be following that throughout the tournament. And the big thing today will be the Serena Williams match. And do you have the guts? Do you have the balls? Do you have the chutzpah?
To go for Harmony Dan.
Stronger than balls. Chutzpah. To go ahead and lay a couple of sticks on Harmony 10. On my recommendation.
Would they? I would be curious to make that bet and get to see the look you get from people.
I still probably if I had ever seen this woman play, I would be inclined to go ahead and bet her, I think. But I have no idea what her game looks like.
My favorite is Julian just said her best finish ever is the second round of the Australian Open. Her best finish ever.
So she won a match at the Australian.
Yes,
essentially.
and that's it.
And how old is this Harmony Tan?
I
or
think
Tan, whatever her name is. Well, what the heck is? I thought she was Asian. I thought she was one of several Asian players.
She is.
How old is this woman? This is big.
24. She's young. She's 24. She's 24.
Well, that's not super, youthful for tennis players. Look, Coco Gauff's out there at 19. And already been to a finals at a slam event. So, all right, it's going to be interesting, right? I mean, you would have to say, is this, like Roy Jones Jr. making a comeback after, getting knocked out a couple of times? Did he get, no, Glenn Johnson didn't knock out Roy Jones Jr., did he? Did he knock out Roy Jones Jr.?
Yes, I think, didn't he?
He did.
I think that was the thing. Roy Jones was facing Tarver, Johnson.
Tarver knocked him out. I was there when Tarver knocked him out. That was a stunning end to a fight, very quickly too. I think it was round 2, and then Glenn Johnson got in there and beat Roy Jones. But did he knock him out? because this will be real interesting to see if Serena gets knocked out in the first round today. And look, no disgrace comes back. I mean, if she even I mean, I have no no sentiment about Serena coming back into the spotlight here and kind of stealing the show for the first couple of days at Wimbledon, but. And if she wins, then does she finally play somebody, or do they continue to feed her a steady stream of stiffs all the way to the semifinals?
I don't know.
It can't happen.
I don't know. I mean, she's ranked really low. Like her odds are 17 plus 1700. Still doesn't seem like enough to win the whole thing. She hasn't played at all.
Oh no, I would bet every dime that I had that, and all of your money too, Lubie, which is not particularly substantial right now. But thank God the wife has a good job. But there's no way that's this is the people that thought that Tiger Woods was going to win like the U.S. Open. It wasn't happening. You had to be just flat out of your mind. I guess it was what was he in the U.S. Open, right?
Yeah.
Tiger went in there. Yeah.
Well, the Masters too. Remember they were worried about the Masters because
that was
the
Masters
out of his ass.
It was the Masters
a couple years ago, so he'll do it again. He's like, no.
Impossible, right? There were certain bets that you're just looking at. And you're going, you know what? If that happens, then that's it. If I lose all of my money, I'll just walk right off the Dania Pier and jump into the ocean. That's it.
Exactly.
Please, nobody, no rope, no lifeline. Let me just go to the bottom of the sea here and rot. I like the Atosha. Hey, Vane. All right, so that's our wagering advice for today. The Serena story is an interesting story to me, very interesting all the way around. As is this. This kind of shocked me out of a small tidbit sort of item, right? Did you see what happened here with this Minnesota Twins pitching coach?
No.
And his name is Wes Johnson, Minnesota Twins pitching coach. Wes Johnson.
Okay.
So he just decided, like, I guess, in the past week, and now it was announced that he's leaving the Twins to take another pitching coach position. All right. So where do you think he's going? The Giants? Maybe the Cardinals? They always, seem to do very well in that category, even with washed up guys that you thought were finished 10 years ago. They're still pitching well. Adam Wainwright, huh? What's going on? How many Tommy Johns has Adam Wainwright had? Like 7?
Oh, geez. Is he still pitching? Adam Wainwright's still trying to throw a baseball for a living? Is that really happening?
He shut out the Marlins.
I haven't heard of him playing baseball in like 5-6 years. What that? Okay, that's interesting. Good for him, I guess. That's weird.
The piano player, Victor Wainwright, we should have a better break than this guy. But okay, so where do you think Wes Johnson ended up getting more than twice the money that he was making as a pitching coach for the Minnesota Twins? He was making $350,000 a year to be the pitching coach of the Minnesota Twins. Nice gig, would you say, Lubie? Huh? He's still around the game that he loves? Yeah, I love this game since I was a kid. And I don't know. I mean, he's a pitching coach of such great distinction. I never heard of him. Have you? Wes Johnson. Not that I would know every pitching coach.
I've never heard that name. I mean, usually you've at least heard the names before because it's a lot of former pitchers. I don't know the name. I know Wesley Johnson that played, I think, for your Syracuse and was an NBA with like the T-Wolves. I don't know Wes Johnson, the guy who was probably a big white guy. And was a pitching coach.
He got $750,000 reportedly, an upgrade of more than double his professional baseball pitching coach salary from Louisiana State. Can you imagine that, Lubie?
More money to coach college. That's great.
Oh, the sport that they were always trying to tell us was like a worthless piece of crap.
They don't even care about college baseball.
Yeah, college baseball. You think Andy Mogish, the buzzard, when I was at Syracuse, was making $750,000, and he was the head coach, not just the pitching coach. And how many coaches do they have there?
I don't know. I didn't know college baseball had like all these coaches. That's interesting.
Skip Bertman retired, right? Did he become like athletic director? Remember, he was an assistant here. He was a pitching coach with Ron Frazier for many, many years, right?
Yeah.
And Tony would know him really well. Tony Segura. Which, by the way, Andy said there's been an uptick in the consideration of the stock for Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Now, like a prime target of those in the bull market as they try to make money in an otherwise stiff of an economy.
Yeah, bear market.
Prices have skyrocketed to enormous proportions. I mean, did you ever think you would be happy to come home from a trip and see that gas had dropped to like $4.70 a gallon?
I've actually seen like $4.50s, and I was like, "Whoa!" And then I had to like throw up in my mouth a little bit that I was excited for 450 something. And I was like, okay, we're not going to get excited about 450 something. Like that's
450, right? You're still getting robbed blind. I mean,
it's $2 more than it
when you
should
go to the cash register, it should be the clerk that has the ski mask and the gun. Never mind the guy that's coming in to rob the joint, right? You're just getting hosed. It's incredible.
Yeah, the professor brings up a good point. It probably isn't college baseball overall. The school you said specifically resides strongly in the SEC, where they just spend crazy money on anything sports that they can get their hands on. So I didn't think about that. LSU
$750,000 for a
SEC
college pitching coach.
power. Yeah.
A college pitching coach. You get some guy that's in grad school. He comes out there and goes, "Hey, listen, Johnny, man, you better go a little more over the top here. That breaking ball ain't worth a shit." Right?
God.
And most of these guys aren't going anywhere in particular. Although, did it look like they had professional staffs in terms of pitchers when you were watching some of this college baseball World Series, which I didn't see a great deal of. But did not Ole Miss win the thing over the weekend? Ole Miss?
Yes, Ole Miss. Ole Miss was one of the last in, and ended up winning it all.
It looked like they had Tug McGraw in his prime out there on the mound there. They brought in some left-handed reliever at one point. I'm like, what the hell is this? How many college teams have this caliber of pitching? It used to only be FSU under Mike Martin.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I didn't watch any of it. You and the professor were all over the College World Series. I didn't watch any College World Series.
No, I mean, I hardly saw any of it. I'm not going to imply for a second here that I'm, some expert on this year's College World Series, but, I did see, that Ole Miss had won it because that was a big deal to people. I guess Mississippi, the money Mississippi, New Orleans, that they kind of have a little bit of an interest there in Ole Miss. So, there were people paying attention to that, and I think it might have been the source of some wagering, much more so than the hockey game was between the Avalanche and the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, Brett Tesler, the agent to the Stars, is going to join us. Football issues. Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, how much more conversation can we have about that? What on earth is going to happen? Lubie, year suspension?
He's suspended a year. Yeah. He's going to get suspended a year. I mean, the NFL sort of, I know he's worked out the cases.
Today or something like that.
I mean, he's going to be suspended a year. I mean, the NFL has been pretty clear about that. I mean,
you know what's scary too? I mean, seeing those scenes of Brittany Griner being led into court in Russia,
yeah,
where
crazy.
You know what the conviction rate is? The prosecutors do pretty well in Russia, as you might imagine. There's a 99% conviction rating.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
In Russia, everybody's guilty, right? It's so crazy, isn't it? I mean, but you couldn't help but feel, wow. What kind of horrifying experience must that be, right? For having a little bit of weed in your suitcase.
So dumb.
And you're in some Russian jail for like 5 months already. That in and of itself, Well, and I don't know. I mean, what would you not figure, as the professor pointed out on the big board, talking about, what kind of, posse or entourage that you need. Yep. Right. Don't you have somebody else provide you with the weed when you get to Moscow? How insane is that?
I wouldn't mess with that. Now, look, she probably has been doing it a long time and no one bothers her. And now that we're in this thing with Russia that they're being jerk-offs and, like, anything.
And they all knew that Griner was carting this stuff around?
Yep. Well, she's been playing there for years. So
what would make them even detect these vials of marijuana vapor?
No, she probably had it in her pocket. She probably put it in the thing, and they probably have never given her crap about it. And then this time, because we're in the middle of fighting off Russia with the Ukraine,
they were looking through a suitcase though, like a carry-on.
Then I don't know. They were looking for stuff. They probably got a tip. Like, I'm sure.
Yeah. We know she's got it. We put it in there ourselves. Unbelievable. No, scary though, huh? I mean, facing like 10 years in some Russian prison for some cartridges, and supposedly, I guess, it was sort of heartening. I mean, obviously a very stupid move, like the professor pointed out. I mean, how dumb do you have to be? There's that.
I mean, I don't know if you can just get weed freely in Russia. I'm not going to lie. I know that was the professor's big thing, is you can find weed anywhere. And I give him credit, but I don't know how often he's traveled to Russia. If you need it and
you can't find it, though, why wouldn't you just play in Spain or something?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, I wouldn't risk it when it comes to Russia. It was like when the ball kids fucked around in, what was it, China? where the one ball, it's like there's certain countries, unless you're a total moron, you know that these countries don't really mess around. They're not fun countries. You can have fun there, but you know what they're about. These are countries you sort of don't mess around in. Yes, I don't.
Kind of, the direction America's going in.
Yeah, exactly.
So it seems, anyway. A lot of protests out there. They had a big protest going on in Jackson Square over this Roe versus Wade. I thought I saw the Mustang up there with a megaphone too, because that's
my
kind of
wife
thing
would
she
be
would
there, I'll
have
tell you
just
right
like
now.
jumped right in. Yeah, said, "Hey, what the fuck?" That's
My wife would
unbelievable.
be there too. I'd be with.
All right, so Deshaun Watson, he supposedly is meeting with one of the people that would be deciding his fate in terms of his NFL future here.
Yeah.
I think, is that today?
Today, they said today. They said disciplinary hearing scheduled for today. You would think he'd get a year. I mean, all they've talked about is him getting at least a year. So we'll see, I guess. Because even if they settle all these things, and they've only settled 3/4 of them, there's still like 4 or 5 that are hanging out there. Those are supposedly not going to get settled until after the year. So you can't have them out there with this lingering.
Well, and now, they're also that the lawsuits have been brought by, I don't know if it's all of the same women, but some of the parties that were part of these civil suits under the Tony Busby banner there, the attorney that's handling all of these cases. And they're suing the Houston Texans also for being liable and being conscious of the fact and being enablers in this whole criminal activity, which was not deemed criminal somehow, in spite of, the willingness. I don't know. Does a willingness to settle imply to you naturally that we all knew that the guy was guilty? Or should we not make that judgment?
Look, a lot of the time people will settle because they don't want to waste time. You know, like that doesn't automatic. It's assumed, well, if you're settling, you're a criminal. Right. No, big companies will settle all the time because they don't want to waste time on a big lawsuit, because all that does is bring attention.
Well, and think about it. Supposedly, I don't know, there was a number out there that these women were seeking like $100,000 or something. That there was a settlement offer or something that was rejected, I guess, at $100,000 for the 20 people that settled. And so that's only $2 million. I mean, which I say only, but the guy just signed for like $230 million. So if you can get rid of this for $2 million,
you do it.
At that point, doesn't Rusty Harden say to him, "Hey, listen, Deshaun, just get rid of this now.
It's a good business.
Otherwise, it's going to linger forever." So it could be. I don't know. We can't prejudge guilt there, because of course,
people
that would
do.
be part of the disclaimer that this is not an admission of guilt in any way, shape, or form. Right?
Yeah.
These are the thoughts strictly of the hosting and his guests and callers, and not necessarily the position of South Florida Live or
exactly. Exactly.
We've done our best to bury here. All right, we're coming back with more. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Looking forward to getting down there again. We've been saying this for a while, Key Largo. And now New Orleans is great, but a whole different vibe down there in Key Largo. And the one common thread there, though, is you can get great food there, just like you can in any place in New Orleans. Now, you can go to a lot of places in Key Largo, but you can't go to any place that is as great and just as astonishingly amazing as Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. And we were blown away by it. I mean, it's easy for us to sit up here and say, oh, yeah, I recommend this brand of suds. That's not us. We talk about places with this kind of passion because we really sincerely overwhelmed by how fantastic it was.
You do a great job.
At Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, and you would want to go back time and again, and we can't wait to get back there. I can envision it. When I was having such a good time there, it was so peaceful. I'm leaning against the wall of the pool down there, and it was maybe 4 feet of water, so perfect. And they're bringing me cocktails, and then Mustang says, "Hey, I ordered one of those Italian fisherman pizzas." And I'm like, great, man. I've been dying to try it. And then absolutely overwhelmed with how amazing it was. Fantastic. Yep. All of the food there is great. I'm a big fan of the fresh seafood you can get in the Keys. And, you can go to a lot of places. But Dominic and Jemmy does a tremendous job in the kitchen there. And every dish comes out of there. I would think he only awards 4 stars to the 4-star satisfaction of the Gambling Gourmet Mike Mayo.
Nice.
4 big ones there from Mayo. We'll have to get him down there. And he is grumpy, right? So it's not like he's going to go in there going, oh, yeah, Defo, whatever you say.
Oh, no, he goes there pessimistic. And when he's positive about something, that's how you know it was really good, because he expects the worst.
No, I mean, I think he wants the worst. I mean, I
Yes,
think
yes.
he legitimately wants it to be bad so he can be disappointed. That's part of being grumpy, which he now admits to grumpy. I mean,
He actually has a cup.
I think irascible was like a nice way of putting it. Anyway, even he would be satisfied down there. That's the point of all of this. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104. Great atmosphere, great vibe right there on the base side. You know, anything Jimmy touches is going to be just first class all the way. Larry Calvano, the guy, was behind this thing, had a nice piece of property there, didn't he? Larry Calvano. Wow, what a place to own, huh? That is phenomenal. But it's an even better place to go because you can just enjoy yourself and detach yourself from all of the things that are plaguing you and worrying you about the world. Or if you're overwhelmingly happy like Lubie at all times. I mean, have you ever seen Lubie where he wasn't happy? What are you talking about, happy? Define happy.
That's me.
Mr. Jolly over here. Mike Lubie
Jolly.
working over here. Jeff DeForest and Mr. Jolly. Mike Lubie.
That's what they call me.
And we're not talking Leroy.
Exactly.
Great horse trainer, Leroy Jelly.
I
Real
get
class
figured
gentleman
it.
also at Hialeah Park. That's where I ran into him, man. It was like a pleasure. Yeah, you know, when you run into people that you're like, whoa, that's, Woody Stevens, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And then all tied to Hialeah Park. But no, and the people at Hialeah Park would love Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill.
Yeah, they
also,
have a
'cause
blast.
same kind of crew.
Mentality.
Just looking to have people, and if you're in the hospitality business, what would be the first line of business and order of business, Lubie? Be hospitable.
Usually,
Make it fun to
yes.
go there, and that's what they do at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, Overseas Highway in the beautiful, beautiful area of Key Largo, which is going to be sunny today. Well, I think it's sunny out right now, but isn't it supposed to rain all day, or are those graphics complete BS that they put up on Channel 10 on the crawl, where they have the little cloud and the lightning? Because that's all I saw all day today, and looks fine outside. So anyway, if it's sunny, beautiful place to be. Even if it's not exactly a perfect day from the Chamber of Commerce standpoint, weather-wise, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, perfect place to chill out. Mile marker 104, Overseas Highway, Key Largo. All right, Brett Tester, the agent of the stars, coming up, and we'll find out what he thinks about a variety of things going on in the National Football League and other matters of life as well. In a moment, now that.
The time.
I think Tesla could beat Serena right now. He was the club champion there at some fancy schmancy place
Nice.
living in Coral Springs. So 8:31. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
The simple pleasures of this job, the way a stadium sounds when one of my players performs well on the field, the way we are meant to protect them in health and in injury. Less money, more attention, caring for them, caring for ourselves in the games too.
The agent to the stars, the one and only Brett Tessler.
Welcome back to the show, the Defo Show. Jeff Forrest back in town after a little weekend junket in New Orleans. It was great. My son was there and his lovely wife, Kelly. We had a blast. And, essentially got blasted there while cruising around Bourbon Street, which is one of life's great pleasures and one of the amazing slices of Americana type of life. A scene that you definitely have to, I guess, you go ahead and let it engulf you. And just absolutely fantastic. Mike Lubitz with you. We welcome to the show the agent of the stars, Brett Tessler. Before we get into some NFL stuff with Brett here, Jim Sarney, our good friend Jim Sarney, who does a great job monitoring some of the facts and illogical conclusions we come to here on the program. The Williams Tan winner plays the winner of Sorbis Tormo, who has been playing decent tennis this year, versus McHale in the second round. So those two girls would be, I would think, favored. Young ladies would be favored over Serena Williams. You can make some money betting against Serena. That's what I'm saying. All right, Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars. Brett, how are you, my friend? Good to have you on the show.
Doing great, Dave. Good to be with you. Thank you.
You're an accomplished tennis player. I mean, what was that club championship you took down? That was no slouch distinction that you won there. What was that, Heron Bay, where you were living at the time, and you became the club champion like overnight? One day you were losing a Winderman, the next day you were being handed a trophy like you were Rafael Nadal. It was amazing.
I did win a couple titles over there. My game definitely took a step to another level once I got a chance to start playing some different competition, but there's no doubt that playing against the likes of you and Joe Rose and Winderman and Eric Reed and the whole crew for all those years definitely paved the foundation.
But you went from like a McEnroe racket throwing maniac out there, to like Captain Smooth. All of a sudden, how did you do that? Did you take private lessons from Roger Federer? I mean, how on earth did you make? I have never seen a vital transformation like that in my lifetime.
I think you know what it was, Steve. I think marriage is what gave me a sense of calm, and once I found peace in my personal life, I stopped with the rapping, and I think that allowed my game again to sort of take a jump to the next level.
It hasn't worked for me, I would say. As I've often said, everything changes after she says I do, and not necessarily in my lifetime. For the better. All right. What's happening? Speaking of relationships, I mean, what do you see today? Any more speculation? Is it worth speculating upon, or is it a certainty that Deshaun Watson is probably going to be suspended for a year? And is that meeting taking place today? It's a disciplinary meeting or a meeting with the big stick there from the NFL. What do you see happening there? Or what are you hearing? Anything of significance on that front?
Well, one thing that's already happened is this situation has probably played out as the worst case scenario it could, both from a public relations standpoint for the league and for a roster quality, outlook for the Browns this season, just because, it's become apparent that the guy who they really hitched their wagon to, and the guy who, again, from a football standpoint, it was certainly a great acquisition, because there's really never been an example of a team that's been able to acquire a top 5 type quarterback right in his prime. Again, for a position that's had such quarterback issues for the last 20 some years, including whiffing on their, first overall pick a few years ago. So from a pure personnel standpoint, picking up a guy like him was a good move. Everybody knew that these issues needed to be resolved. And at that time that they signed him, it was announced that there wasn't going to be any criminal charges pressed against him, which, made it believe that all he would have to do then is resolve the civil issues and be able to resume his career, and all would be good for everybody. But that is exactly how this situation is not played out, because you've got, he did settle with, I believe, 20 of the 24 accusers.
Yes.
But there's still the potential that more can emerge, and that, maybe the 4 who he has not settled with aren't going to go away very quickly or quietly. So, for the Browns, there's really no certainty at this point when they can expect to see Deshaun Watson on the field playing for them. And for the league, now you've got it dragged into this mess, people accusing them of being accomplices in this, or, having their own responsibility for the things that happen. And, now with the discussion of suspension, you've got the Players Association and fans and other people saying, well, if you're going to punish Deshaun Watson, why haven't you punished this owner, this owner, this owner, or that owner? And just when you add it all up, it is just an absolute nightmare for the league.
Well, and Brett,
I would imagine so. Yeah, go ahead, Louie.
Well, from a football standpoint, it's interesting. Baker Mayfield and the Browns have clearly been on a divorce path, and you go and you bring Deshaun Watson. It seems like that's over. A lot of people are expecting Jacoby Brissett to start. If you're Baker Mayfield's agent, what are you advising him to try and play? Because right now his stock is as low as it ever could be. So they have a lot of talent there, and I get it. They haven't gotten along. Like, what is the next step for the Browns and Baker Mayfield? Because a lot of people just assume Brissett's going to play, but if you're Mayfield, not playing doesn't help you. So, like, if you're Mayfield's agent, what are you trying to do with him right now?
So here's the reality of the situation. Baker Mayfield would likely be their best option this year, and they may well be Baker Mayfield's best option. Now, yes, players are human beings, and, the way that things have sort of gone down there over the last few months, from a emotional standpoint, it would make it very difficult for a guy like Baker Mayfield to return there, if not impossible. And I think one thing everybody can agree about with Baker Mayfield, he's a pretty emotional guy. I mean, this isn't Jimmy Garoppolo we're talking about. And so as his agent, your job is to try to calm him down, take emotion out of the equation, and ultimately make whatever decision is in his best long-term interest. And the reality is the Browns are a good team, unlike some of the other teams you've heard mentioned as possible suitors for him, the Detroits, the Carolinas. He would clearly be in a better situation in Cleveland. It's a team and a scheme and a coaching staff and a playbook and teammates and everything that he already is very familiar with, already has chemistry and timing down with. And so the reality is, and this is not, a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact. If in fact he is going to wind up hitting the market next year, he wants to come off and needs to come off the best season he could possibly have. And the reality is, the best place for that to happen is Cleveland. So it's a matter of how sensible is he going to be? What are the Browns going to do to try to make amends, if even possible? And ultimately, it's the agent's job to be in the middle of all this and to try to appeal to his client and to try to take emotion out of the equation, as well as to deal with the team and see if they're on board with seeing if there's any way to salvage this relationship, which as of today, it appears there is not.
Oh, this is great, man. I mean, it's like marrying the ex. And, that can lead to problems, you would think. And yet, there's kind of a Man of La Mancha storyline here where Mayfield, who obviously the Cleveland Browns had thrown in the towel on, and I don't know that the fans had totally given up on him, but I would imagine that'd be a very hot topic. You wouldn't have to do much to solicit telephone calls on a sports talk show, except come in every day and go 6:05 in the morning here, Baker Mayfield. And I mean, they're very passionate, as you are, about Cleveland sports with your Midwest roots, Brett Sir. agent to the stars. But how great would it be if Mayfield had a terrific season?
That'd be classic.
Led the Browns to whatever level exceeded their expectations for the year. Maybe at least a second round in the postseason, and then they would have to figure out what to do with each other.
Yeah.
Which obviously, Mayfield hits the streets at that point, but he does it as a hero in Cleveland. That would be great, wouldn't it?
It would be a good problem to have for all parties. I mean, it would be good for the Browns and their fans in the short term. And who knows? I mean, look, winning tends to cure a lot of things. And ultimately in this league, money talks. And, let's just say somehow, some way, Baker Mayfield, the light just goes on and he becomes what everybody hoped he could have been when he was the number 1 overall pick. And he has a good fortune of staying healthy, which has been a little bit of a challenge for him throughout his career. Yeah. I mean, if all of a sudden, this team starts winning and winning big and he's performing at the highest level and, his teammates are happy with him and he's happy with them, again, the love affair could rekindle. The reality is the chances of that happening are extremely, extremely thin, if not impossible. But look, stranger things have happened. And again, at the end of the day, winning is important to these guys and to players, money talks. And so if they did have huge success together and, they were then at worst case scenario, the Browns in a position to trade Mayfield for a king's ransom. And there would obviously be way more teams interested in him where some of his options may be more appealing in a year than they would be today. Then again, good problem to have. You cross that bridge when you get to it.
I guess their last option would be to sign Bernie Kosar and see if Bernie could side saddle him down, into a position to maybe win a championship. But no, a very interesting storyline to follow, and we'll see. I guess we'll know more definitively about Deshaun Watson today. I don't know if a final decision is going to be reached. All right. I mean, who's impressing you, in the offseason the most? We know the Rams went all in to try and defend their championship, and you're expecting certain contenders to be there again, like maybe the Chiefs and a couple of other teams that are knocking on the door there. I'm not sure where the Packers will be this year, but is there a team, Brett Tesser, that has impressed you? Especially so in the offseason moves they've made, and or is maybe sitting on the possibility of getting good and becoming an elite team. Buffalo, I guess, has become a known commodity now. But anybody out there that we should be looking at this year, in your opinion, Brett Tesser, as a team that would be on the rise? And could it be the Miami Dolphins? Is that possible?
Yeah. Well, that's actually, in my opinion, the answer. If you want to go based on who's winning the offseason, as far as addressing needs, as far as adding major talent to, key offensive skill positions. I mean, look, when you add a receiver like Kyrie, that's one of the most dynamic weapons in the league. When you look at the running back position, they added Chase Edmonds, very good running back from Arizona. And then they added Raheem Mostert, who, if he's healthy, I mean, that guy's as dangerous as any weapon in the league as well. And so I think when you look at that, when you look at some of the moves they made to bolster the offensive line, the defense on that team had been pretty good. And, you'll still have Josh Boyer there running the scheme that they had success with. So, I mean, look, again, like we've talked about, it kind of comes down to Tua this year. This is going to be the make or break year for sure. But, winning the offseason isn't everything, because the Dolphins won the offseason when they signed Mike Williams, and that obviously didn't parlay to any type of success. They won the offseason when they signed Ndamukong Suh, and that didn't correlate to any type of great improvement or success or any long-term anything. So the offseason's the offseason. It's fun for the fans, everything else. But at the end of the day, we will find out soon enough, once training camp and then the preseason and ultimately the regular season get there. That's when you really find out who's done what.
Well, and it cranks up pretty soon. Amazing. We're almost on the threshold here of, what a lot of people count down the days to, and that is the opening of training camps. And, I'm with you. I'm expecting the Miami Dolphins to be, surprisingly better than they're being, credited with being by the people in Las Vegas, who have them at a very modest 8.5 in a 17-game season as the over/under number when they won 9 games last year with a team that didn't appear to be anywhere near as good. So, we'll see how that works out. Michael D. Wild, that's something that always works out.
Yes, sir.
I'm under the realization, Brett, that my days are numbered. I'm on borrowed time here. I mean, Marlon Briscoe checked out at what, 76? I'm only a few years away from that as of next week, like maybe 5. So it could go at any time. You have to be ready for it. You want to make sure that your family, your loved ones, and the people that mean a lot to you are taken care of, or that your assets go to the right place. Michael D. Wild can, just be absolutely imperative that you get a hold of him soon and take care of all of that.
Well, it's very humble of you to put yourself in the same boat as the rest of us mortals. The reality is you'll outlive us all. But for the people out there, like for the people out there like myself and the people out there listening, you really do need to get your estate plans taken care of. It's so important. It's something that I know I told myself for years. Oh, I'll get around to it next week, next month, after this, after that. The truth is, life is so unpredictable. If something should happen to you and you haven't got these things taken care of, you are going to put your family in an incredibly tough situation. And that's why all you need to do is reach out to Michael Wild at southfloridawills.com. Best estate planning attorney in South Florida. This process is affordable, it's easy, and it's over at the blink of an eye. And once you get it taken care of, again, it takes 1,000-pound weight off your back, and more importantly, the back of your family and the people that you love and care about. Reach out to Michael Wild, southfloridawills.com.
All right, Brett, you have a great week, getting closer and closer to our home, as the Grand Funk Railroad song goes, as the NFL season is not that far away. And it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Best to you and your lovely family, and we'll talk to you again next week, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Have fun. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tessman.
All right, very good. Brett Tesser, the agent to the stars. True or false, Mike Lubie Lubitz? Are you ready? We'll give you a little preview, Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. True or false that Marlon Briscoe, who was one of the pioneer black quarterbacks, I guess, in professional football, getting a chance to start in the old AFL with the Denver Broncos, then became a wide receiver of some distinction. True or false, was Marlon Briscoe on the undefeated 1972 Miami Dolphins championship team?
I think it's true. I saw something about him being connected to the Dolphins.
Very true. Yes, very true. I mean,
think that's true.
Entirely freaking true, which is amazing for this show. Come up with something like that. But yeah, I want to say that he was.
I think he was.
I wouldn't have originally thought that. I would have thought that was very much false. But, if Gergels had posed that question. So I don't know if that's going to be on the ticket on Thursday here on South Florida Live for the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. But Marlon Briscoe, I believe, I'm going to say that with a high level of certainty, was on the 1972 perfect season Miami Dolphins roster. Marlon Briscoe as a wide receiver.
Yeah, 72 to 74, he was on the Fins.
There you go. There you have it, as Gordon Sully would say. All right, we're going to come back and wrap things up. It's been a lot of fun being with you.
Yes, sir.
A little bit of ring rust. I got in kind of late last night, Lubie. As I will say this, Spirit Airlines a much better job of being like functionally on time. I don't know. I saw some people complaining about it, but right now, I mean, most airlines are having trouble with their flight
staffing. You can't staff.
Nobody wants to work, right?
You can't staff. Yeah, staffing everywhere.
New Orleans Airport has expanded enormously, Lubie. I mean, from what it was, and I don't understand. Did they add more, available flights coming in and out of New Orleans or something to accommodate more airlines that fly in and out of there?
Maybe.
Because, I mean, you used to breeze through security at the New Orleans airport. It was kind of a joke, all right? And the joke was that we had bought some hot sauce, and I got this from our good friend John Footy Cross, but it is true that you could go through security at one time a few years back in the New Orleans airport with a bomb strapped to your chest, right? One of those outfits that like Bruce Arians was wearing. They wouldn't even find it curious at all, where he had the thing sticking out and it looked like he was about to blow himself up if Brady didn't complete a pass soon. And they would say nothing. Hey, you have a good time? Yeah. And then if you had like a 4-ounce bottle of hot sauce, they would have to confiscate it. And all of a sudden, you had like 6 security people from TSA pinning you to the ground. They were like, "What?" They go, "No, sorry, sir, we're going to have to confiscate this hot sauce." But otherwise, I mean, you would breeze through the security there. Literally, it took like 2 seconds. You would think, "Why did I get to the airport so early? Now what am I going to do? Eat a lucky dog?"
Lucky dog.
But now, I mean, they expanded the size of the thing, and the line to get through to security, it fortunately went like fairly smoothly, but it took like 25 minutes to get through the security check. 25 minutes.
That's insane.
Yeah, and they're much more expanded, stuff at the gates and everything like that. They really spiffed the place up. Been a long time, huh? I mean, how did those guys survive the COVID thing on Bourbon Street with the tourists?
I give them credit that they're still thriving, because that would have been a place I wasn't running to. So
no,
good for them.
That would be the last place you would want to be if you were worried about
arm in
catching
arm.
disease. Mosquitoes the size of clinchers. I mean, whatever. Actually, there's no reason to go there. No, I really enjoyed it.
No, New Orleans is great.
I couldn't help
New Orleans is great.
Went to a bar called Bambula's. Bambula's is like a music place on Frenchman Street. And
Nice.
wow, it was great, man. I mean, they had one band after another. Like each band played, like maybe a 90-minute set, and then right after that, they took their stuff down as fast as they could, and they brought another band in there. It was great.
Nice. That's cool.
Absolutely great. And they were good, too. I mean, pretty much everywhere. So that was a lot of fun. All right, back to wrap things up on this Tuesday edition of the program. Tomorrow, Tony Segreto with us. We go old school with the now highly valued Texas Roadhouse restaurants behind them, and Catholic Health Services as well. And then Thursday, we'll have the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Friday, a Degenerate Friday with the professor and Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. And we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Coco blasted out in the first set.
Oh,
Against some woman named Ruse. Dropped at 6-2. They're in the second set right now. Goff held serve in the first game. So after a really good season leading up to Wimbledon, that would be a bitter disappointment.
First round, I mean, come on.
Coco Gauff got knocked out by some unknown in the first round at Wimbledon there. She's playing on court 2, and that match is underway right now on ESPN. 12 o'clock today. That's the big one, Lubie. What are you going to go with?
Well, Serena's winning this one.
Some young girl. What is
Yeah.
it? Who is this woman again?
Harmony
Harmony
Tan.
Tan.
Harmony Tan. I would go with Serena. I think Serena would beat Harmony Tan. Serena doesn't beat Harmony Tan, then Serena should hang it up. If you're facing 130th in the world and you lose, then that's your okay. It's done.
If you were a great champion who's been out of action,
If you're smart enough to just
round,
know
that's it.
Where you are.
You go Tiger Woods on this thing. Although Tiger will never say that he's hanging it up. Yeah, he still believes he's going to go out there and win.
With an idea of a Champions Tour, it's stupid. Like he could probably bank on a Champions Tour. So why not just play for fun and make a lot of money?
No, he's not going to go on a Champions Tour.
You don't think Tiger would
do
that?
See that?
Jack Nicklaus did it. Didn't Nicklaus and Arnie? They all did
played
it.
A couple. Yeah,
I'm sure they all do. Why wouldn't you? If they're going to pay you money to keep playing golf, why wouldn't you? Your tour.
He doesn't need the money. I mean, doesn't he drift off into the distance there, get involved in some golf course design or something? A line of shoes. I don't know.
I think
a golf club line that Nike, has him consult on, and all of a sudden he's like Cindy Crawford designing furniture. Never done this before. Well, you can do it now because you look good laying on that couch. Unbelievable. Even at 50. All right, that's going to do it for us. We had a lot of fun being with you. Good to be back. New Orleans, always a blast. I would recommend it if you want to have a getaway weekend. Depends on what kind of thing you like to do. If you like to bar hop a little bit, and every place you go into on Bourbon Street on Sunday in the afternoon had a different type of really good live band.
Nice.
I mean, it wasn't like you were seeing top-notch, upper echelon people of the genre, but it was really, really nice. Okay. All the way around, and a great vibe, nice thing to do, and I don't think there's any place you can experience that. Maybe Beale Street in Memphis, is that possible?
Never been.
It's a big blues town. Somewhere in Nashville, is there a street like that? No, seriously, I mean,
no. Did you see what Sandy said?
What?
Tiger's gonna open a string of driving schools.
There you go.
God forbid.
I wonder if he has Car Shield. No, he'll be doing the Car Shield ad. That'll be it. I think that's more likely than him going on the Champions Tour. Yeah. He doesn't want to face Bernard Langer. I mean, imagine. I mean, he's having trouble walking around. They ride in carts. There you go.
Yeah,
that could be it. Now, that would be true love of the game if he did that. I don't think he'd be doing that for the cash. I mean, obviously keeps him even larger in the spotlight. Yeah.
He gets to keep playing golf, and he makes some
How about
money.
he becomes a commentator? Nick Faldo's retiring. He sits there with Jim Nantz, and they fawn all over him during the entire broadcast.
I don't see him doing that. He doesn't like being in the public eye that much. They tweet.
He's more, outgoing in terms of talking to people now than he was before, and he seems to be giving more honest answers than he ever did before. Remember, he was always Belichickian in the way he was tight-lipped, even with Rinaldi, right? Well, Tom, I can't speak about that. Oh, okay, Tiger, I tell you what. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Tony Segreto is going to join us. We'll go a little old school with Tony Segreto, Texas Roadhouse, as we said. Restaurants involved there with Catholic Health Services. Gurgles on Thursday and a Degenerate Friday coming up. For Mike Lubitz on South Florida Live, I'm Jeff DeForest. Tell your friends about it.
Mayo. We will be on with Mayo. 12 noon right here.
Oh, that's
Check
right.
out
Mike
Mayo's
Mayo.
Lunchbox. The whole gang gets back together
Lunchbox.
with Mayo as the key.
Mayo would be disappointed that I didn't eat enough when I was there.
Oh, no, for sure. Well, he and I was talking about it with him. I'm like, yeah, Defo and I usually just have the one good meal. You eat like 7.
Yeah. You can't do that, especially with that type of food. I mean, you would croak. Right? One portion of jambalaya was enough to fill me up for the day, man.
Exactly.
Then we got comped in the steakhouse at Harrah's one night, so that was pretty good. Oh, well, it wasn't like enough to cover like 4 people, but but it was still a very generous portion of the check was paid by the casino.
That's good.
Which I left a also equally generous, if not 5 times more so, contribution.
Sure.
They had nothing. They bagged Let It Ride, man. How do you have a casino without at least one table where you can play this stupid game Let It Ride? Which, I've had a small modicum of success with. Gurgles hit it for like $3,500 when he sat down in Las Vegas last year at the 70th birthday celebration. Walks right in the door, hits for $3,500 on Let It Ride, a stupid game. It's great. Had high limits. Place was packed. I've never seen a casino jamming like that. I mean, New Orleans, if it wasn't back before, is certainly back.
Yeah.
And Harrod is, and no one is capitalizing on it more than Caesar's Palace. which now has its name on the Superdome. Did you know that, Lubie?
Oh, wow. Oh, good for them.
Yeah. What was it before? Like Tire Kingdom? No, Mercedes Center.
Yeah, it was Mercedes for a little bit. I for a while there, just didn't have anything. It was just always called the Superdome.
Right. Then Mercedes got into it, and now they've sold out to Caesar's Palace. So that's where they're coming to you from. Gambling, again, infiltrating its way and weaving its way thoroughly into the fabric of all sports, including tennis. My money's going in against Serena today, Lubie. I have to do it.
You should do something. I just don't see her losing. But you
She's
might as
plus
well.
1,700. So
to win it all, the whole thing, to win all.
Oh,
of
the
it.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Probably
Not today.
has to be favored in this match. I would think she's
Yeah,
favored
I
in
wouldn't,
this match. This is the worst setup I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yep,
I mean,
yep,
really. And
yep.
having done boxing and been involved in that game my whole, pretty much my whole professional life here, and before that as a fan, there's no place where you see things like this, other than boxing and perhaps where else would you find an arrangement? UFC? Do they have setups? If Conor McGregor decides to come back, does he fight against a stiff? Probably so. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. as we leave it on that.
Let's see odds.
The time.
Has to be a big favorite today. It's 9:05.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.